I just got out of the theaters from witnessing the Boogeyman on the big screen, and I have some things that I want to talk about for this film, guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this review. Let's go. What's going on, you guys? The Demigod back on Demigod ET, bringing you another movie review for The Boogeyman, the newest Stephen King adaptation to hit the theaters, to hit the cinemas, and also the newest horror movie slash psychological thriller to hit the cinemas now. In my trailer reactions for this film, I made some comments that this film is either going to be fantastic or it's going to be a complete train wreck. And which side of the fence did this fall on? Well, let's go ahead and talk about it. So, after a patient reports to a therapist that he's been seeing entities, this entity slowly latches on to the therapist and his family and starts preying on the trauma that exists within this family dynamic, leading you to question, is this all a manifestation of trauma, or is this figure actually real? Now, this film has a $35 million budget, and quite honestly, I feel like that's very low for what they were going with for this film. Now, we've seen movies like this before. For example, the most recent one that comes to memory is the film Men, which I never actually dropped a review for because that film was just so bizarre and so left field. But just like in that film, the Boogeyman likes to prey upon traumas that are existing within your past or guilt that you're holding within inside you. And for this family, it happens to be that they lost their mother figure in this family dynamic. Now, because of that, the father hasn't exactly been able to engage with the daughters on that level to express that trauma, leaving them to almost figure it out for themselves. And while I like this general theme of the film because it felt like the movie had something bigger that it wanted to say, it only touches upon this at a very surface level and never really dives deep into that subject like it really should have if it wanted to pull those emotions out of the audience. But instead, these characters just end up being forgettable to the point where, while I'm recording this, I don't even remember the names of any of the characters in this film. Now, when it comes to the approach of this horror movie villain or this psychological thriller demonic entity that we're presented with in this film, it's all done very uninterestingly. The monster throughout this entire film is shrouded in darkness because, like I said in the beginning, they didn't exactly have the budget to make a full-on monster movie where they're constantly giving you shots of it. No, instead, you get a shitty drawing on a piece of paper that this film shows you. I mean, it's absolutely terrible. That's like our only physical representation of this outside of much later in the film. And other than that, it's sort of just a shadow creeping in the darkness, and oh, is it there, is it not there, am I, imagining things, or is this actually happening to me? And that's sort of the entire movie. It's very ambiguous, it's not direct whatsoever, and it does none of this at a high level. It's all very forgettable. This is a very boring movie, a very slow-paced, painstakingly slow-paced watch. A waste of money at the cinemas, honestly. Do not support this at the box office. Do not go out to see this and waste your money on this. If you want to watch this movie, wait to watch it at home. Trust me. I think even watching it at home, you'll feel like you wasted your time with this film, as I felt. And now, as I mentioned, we've had other films play off like this entity haunting someone that also is a physical or spiritual or emotional manifestation of their trauma. But in these films, it's just done at a much higher level. Hell, we've had other Stephen King films done in this genre at a much higher level. For instance, one of my favorite films of all time, It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. I believe the first one dropped in 2017. That also has, a horror figure that likes to play on the trauma and likes to go after mainly specifically children for the most part, and likes to torture its victims or scare its victims before consuming them. All of these traits you see within the Boogeyman, except within It, you actually see it happen on screen. It's not ambiguous at all. You actually understand what's going on here. You get a real entity, a real character to attach yourself to in Pennywise, one of the best horror movie villains I think that we've gotten within the last decade. I'm a real big fan of Pennywise. I love that character. And if you want to even look outside of Stephen King adaptation films, we can look at A Quiet Place, where the entity in A Quiet Place is almost very similar in terms of its design and the way that they wanted it to look, except it's not hidden from the audience throughout the entire film. You get to really see what this thing looks like if they want to show it at all, which this film didn't even have to do, by the way. We've seen plenty of films where it's completely left up to the imagination, which they could have done here, but they chose not to. Instead, you get some low quality, low budget, made for TV BS that should have never been shown at the cinemas, quite honestly. Now, with all that being said, let's just go ahead and drop the official rating for this film because I'm done wasting time with it. I'm gonna go ahead and give the Boogeyman a 2 out of 10. It gets the 2 out of 10. This is a boring, slow-paced mess that I wish I never seen. I wish I can get the time back from viewing this film. I honestly wish I just went to see Spider-Verse one more time instead of watching this movie, and I think I would have had a much better experience now. That officially holds the place of my lowest ranked film in terms of my overall ratings that I've done on the channel, which was previously held by a film that also came out this year, Renfield, which you could watch my review of right there and go see what I had to say there. But yeah, man, wow. Worse than Renfield, that's crazy. I didn't think I'd rate a film lower than that this year, and honestly, Renfield is actually entertaining. You could actually have some fun with that movie. Here, it lacks entertainment value. It's just, all right, we're done with this movie, guys. Those are my thoughts on this film. Let me know your thoughts on the Boogeyman down in the comment section down below. If you don't know what I do here on Demigod, I do commentaries, reactions, and reviews. If you're just doing that in the right place, man, hit subscribe, hit the like button. I drop multiple videos a week on the channel. You can expect out of me. And if you don't already know, I am the Demigod, the chosen one here on Demigod ENT, and I'm out of this thing, man. I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.